Paragraph Zayin 7. Ki tzirichin lenaded shena me'einav. A person has to stop sleep from his eyes. Umafapav tinuma. And slumber from his eyelids. To do what? L'shotet, l'bakesh, u'harabot b'tefilav tahanunim. Which means to be like he's wandering about, asking and trying to make sure and beseeching Hashem, she'yizkeh limsoa tzaddik ha'emet, that he should find the true tzaddik. She'yuchal rapoto, that he can heal him, lachnisbo, and to instill in him hasagat elokut, ideas of godliness, kedei latzil et nafsho meni shachat, in order to save his soul from the shachat. Kemo shetza'ak al zeh Shlomo HaMelech, like Shlomo HaMelech said about this in Mishlei, and he yelled about it, it seems, meaning he said fervently about it, that it was very important. Al titen shena le'einecha utnuma lafapecha. Again, don't let yourself sleep. Meaning always be on the lookout for the tzaddik. Hinatzel kitzvi miyad. You should be saved like the deer from the hand of the trapper. Uchsipor miyad yakush. And again the bird from the trap. V'zeh al yidei she'ibakesh ad she'yimtza et tzaddik. And this is that we have to keep asking until we find that tzaddik, so that we won't fall into the she'ol, into the trap. Hamanhig ha'emet she'ikrabehu la'Hashem itbarach. That he can bring us close to Hashem. He's the manhig ha'emet, the tzaddik, the leader, the true leader. Kemo shekatuv sham b'mekra hakodem hasamuch lezeh, that it says before this in Mishlei, or this says pasuk hey, it says, Aseh zot efo beni v'natzel, do this, my son, and you'll be saved. Ki bata bechaf re'echa lech hitrapes urhav re'echa. Which means, do this, my son, and be saved because you fell into your friend's hands. We'll see what the friend is. And it says, go humble yourself and support your friend. And it says, Rashi says about this, Peresh Rashi, harbe ra'im sheitpalelu alecha lefanav. It says, have a lot of friends so that they can pray for you. That should have meant all this about the friends. And what is the friends? Hainu tzaddikei emet. This is the true tzaddikim. They are the friends. Why? Because shehem nikraim achim v'ra'im l'Hashem itbarach. Because they're the friends and the brothers of Hashem. Like when we say with Hashem, ani lidodi v'dodi li, we're the loved ones and the friend and those type of relationships that we have with Hashem. Shetzrichin le'achniya et atzmo. He has to humble himself. Ke'askupa hanidreset v'nirpeset lebakesham bechol tatzmit kocho. That he has to be like a doorstep that people trod on him and walk on him. Meaning he has to humble himself in order to find that true tzaddik. Ad she'yizkeh lemotze'am, in order to find them. Sheperesh Rashi sham alech yitrapes. Over there, Rashi explains that idea. So basically what Rav Natan is saying in this paragraph, before he said that mourning the tzaddikim is important, but now why mourn them? Go find one. So that's this point. This point is go find a tzaddik. And you don't just walk out of your house and you're going to find him. Maybe you'll never find him. If there's only a few in a generation, where are you going to find him? Maybe he lives somewhere else. That's why you have to pray and pray and pray like our life depends on it. Hashem, let me meet the real tzaddikim. A lot of people, they're living with Erev Rav, rabbis. I mean, we don't know who, but whatever it is. So you could live your whole life and you're with an Erev Rav rabbi, which is of the mixed multitude. A rabbi that doesn't do much good and he's really doing the wrong thing. We don't know. We have to be zoche, merit, to find the right rabbis. It's not so simple just to say you follow the rabbi. Who's the rabbi? So that's why he's putting so much emphasis, Rav Natan. You have to beg for it because you might be following the wrong people. You'll never know. So you have to ask until you'll be clear, and Hashem will give it to you. Be'ezrat Hashem, He'll show you the right tzaddik, and you'll know it when you find it. V'zeh shekatuv sham, this is what it's written over there, besamuch, next to it, the following few pesukim, me'at sheinot, me'at tinumot, meaning have a little sleep, have a little slumber. Shlomo HaMelech, me'at chibuk yadayim lishkav, and again a little bit of your putting your hands together to sleep. Uba kimhalech roshecha umachsorcha keish magen, and this pasuk, of course, he's going to explain, which it means something will come on your head as you walk, and what you're lacking, like a person of a magen, of a shield. But let's see what all this means. Shetzirichin lema'et beshena utnuma. So the first part that said a little sleep means we have to have a little sleep and a little slumber, kedei levakesh tzadik ha'emet, which means two things. You have to give up from your sleep time to learn and to even ask to learn. That's what it means. Not only to learn, to ask to learn, which means to find the tzaddik. And again, to have less sleep and less physicality, because you're trying to be more spiritual, and so we want to find the tzaddik who's going to help me to get that. Tzaddik ha'emet, shenekra mehalech, he's the one that's walking, like it said in the pasuk. The ish magen, he's the ish magen, the shield. He will shield us. Ki tzaddikim nekraim mehalechim. They are called walking. Al shem sheholchim medarga ledarga, because they're always walking from level to level, like it says, yelchu mechayil el chayil. They go from stage to stage. Tamid, always. Kemo shekatuv, like it says in Zechariah Gimel, v'natati lecha mahlechim ben ha'omedim. Hashem will bring you, the tzaddikim, to be the walkers between those that are standing. Meaning, the tzaddikim are the movers and the shakers of what goes on in the world, because they affect shamayim. Things are always moving with what they do. Meaning we all affect shamayim, the Jewish people. But they do a good job of it. So they're making a lot of things happen and keep moving. Besides their own level, they're always moving. V'gam nekra hatzadik ish magen. And again, the tzaddik is called a man who shields. Ki hu magen lechol hachosim bo. Because he's a shield for those that trust in him. Could really mean that they trust in Hashem and he is the shield. But still, we have a certain trust in the tzaddik. Not that he will pull off the miracle, but we trust that he will pray to Hashem who will pull off the miracle. So in a way, there's a certain amount of, where we say, hachosim, trust in the tzaddik and in Hashem, but each one of what they're supposed to be doing. Meaning, we never say that tzaddik does anything. It's only his zechut and his prayer. And Hashem is the one who does everything. V'zehu me'at sheinot me'at tinumot. Again, like we said, a little sleep. Ad asher tizkeh she'yavo kimhalech roshecha. Until you will be merited to have that one that walks as your head. Meaning he's the head. The tzaddik is the head of us, and he's walking. That's what it means, kimhalech roshecha. Uferesh Rashi. Rashi says, Divarim, actually has another understanding of the word roshecha. Divarim shata rash. Rash means poor. Like lo'eg larash. We don't want to make fun of the dead because they're poor and have our tzitzit hanging over the graves, things like that, or even wearing it in front of them. So rash means someone who's poor. It says, Divarim shata rash mehem, things that you don't have, umachsorcha, chaser, things you're lacking, yitmale, it will be filled. Again, through the merit of the tzaddik and by finding the tzaddik. Hainu kola devarim shatarash mehem, everything that you're lacking, v'kol ma shechaser lecha, begashmiyut v'ruchaniyut, in physical and in spiritual. Hakol yavo lecha mehera, everything will come quick to you, kim halech, like it's coming, uch ish magen, and like the tzaddik, the ish magen. Hainu kefi ma'alat tzaddik, which meaning like the ish magen, meanings by the zechut of this ish magen. Shetizkelem so shenekra mehalech ish magen. You'll be able to find it tzaddik that's called that. Kemo ken yavo lecha kol machsorcha v'roshecha. And all that's lacking and the rash that you don't have again will come to you. Dehainu hadivarim she'ata rash mehem. Because the pasuk says, it doesn't say, because Rash, it says Re Shecha, not Ro Shecha, which is Rosh, the head. I mean, it could say it without the Nikudot, but it's saying Re Shecha, which is from the word, again, Rash. And it says, Kol machsav Ro Shecha, Dehainu advim she'ata rash mehem, ki kol hachesonot mitmaleim, everything will be filled al yidei ha-tzadik, through the tzadik. Ki hu mamshich, kol hashpa'ot, he's the one that draws all the heavenly hashpa'ot, however you want to call that, the ores, or he'arot, and things that come down, the bounty, bigashmiut viruchaniut, physical and spiritual. Al yidei shemachnis yidiat elokuto v'hanelvim elav. How does this happen? Because he puts into us and into our minds the da'at of Hashem again, by those that are surrounding him. Shal yedei ze nitmaleim kol hachesronot, because that is what's going to fill up all the lacking. Kemo shekatuv nedarim mem aleph da'at kanita ma chasarta. If you've acquired or you have da'at, knowledge, ma chasarta, then what are you lacking? Which means you're only lacking da'at. And there's a story that there was a guy who was backing out of his driveway, and a car just came without even looking, and he hit into it. He was so angry, he jumped out of his car, and he went to the other car, and he's ready to let the guy have it. And the person rolls down their window, and the guy says, "Ma, are you okay?" You see, it all changed. His anger changed in an instant. You don't have to work on your anger. It'll change and go away in an instant if you have da'at. Because he saw what the story really was, that it was his mother who did that by mistake. She's coming to visit him. So everything changed. It was the da'at that he was missing. That's why he got angry. He didn't know really what was happening. So once we know the truth of things, that's when we have everything. Also, why don't we have this? Why don't we have $1 million? There's a reason for it. If you knew the reason, you also wouldn't have it any other way. You would agree with what Hashem is doing. So non-da'at is what hurts us. All pain is from non-da'at. Because even something might hurt, but it doesn't mean you're pained by it. Like an operation, you feel pain, but you're still happy to do it, meaning you want to do it because it's going to help you. So we need to have that da'at. Ve'al ken tzrichin l'shaber hashena, we have to break the sleep, therefore, ve'lakum b'chatzot halayla, and get up in the middle of the night. Le'onen ulkonen v'livkot v'litzok, to mourn and cry, me'od al chorban bet mikdash, on the destruction of the temple. V'tokef merirut hagalut beguf v'nefesh, and all the strong bitterness of the galut, again in body and soul. Umikol sheken ve'kol sheken livkot v'litzok me'od me'od al histaklut tzadikim. And again, not to forget that the passing of the tzadikim, we also have to mourn about and cry and yell. That doesn't mean yell at the top of your lungs in the middle of the night in your house. All this tze'aka, litzok, it could mean that if you're alone, but it means also like an inner cry, like when you yell and yet your mouth is just moving the lips, like inside you're screaming. And it says, it's like double of a destruction of the Bet HaMikdash. כמו שאמרו רבותינו ז"ל, in מדרש איכה רבה, או איכה ועשר רבתי, אשר כל הצרות, רחמנא ליצלן, all the tzarot are because אנו סובלים על ידי זה, because of this. כמו שכתוב, הצדיק אבד, because the tzaddik is no longer there. ואין איש שם על לב, and people don't pay attention. כי מפני הרעה נאסף הצדיק, that it's because of evil the tzaddik has to pass away. Meaning it's due to sins. If we didn't sin, the tzaddikim wouldn't have to leave. Of course, no one would die, but the tzaddikim leave us because at the end, we don't merit them. And so therefore, they have to go. Al ken kol mi shechas al nafsho, so whoever finds pity on his heart, in his soul, Tzarich litzok me'od, again you have to cry out a lot. Sheyizkeh gam ata, you should be zoche now, ata. Limtzor rabbi, a rabbi, umanhig amiti, and a proper, truthful leader. Sheyuchal leachnis bo, that he can instill in you, yediat elokuto, again yitbarach, the ideas of godliness. Shal yedei ze yitmalu kol hachesonot, this way all the lacking will be filled, vitbatelu kol hatzarot, and all the tzarot will be cancelled, v'yittaken hakol, and everything will be proper and rectified as it should be. Now just a closing point, when it says da'at will fill all the lacking, it doesn't mean if you're missing money that you'll get it. It could mean that with the beracha from Hashem, but again, what's lacking is your understanding of why your bank account is the way it is. So when you get the understanding, that is what you'll want, because you'll realize you don't want $1 more than you're supposed to have. So that's again the idea. This religion is not we do it to get rich. It's we do it so that we feel good and happy. We want to be happy with whatever the situation is, because the situation must be. Now you might say, can I change my situation? We can always change something. So I don't mean going forward. Of course, we can always try and have a change and move forward and have goals. But what I'm talking about is after you've tried and it didn't happen, now you have to say, this is the way it was supposed to be. Just leave that in a nutshell like that. Of course, there's much more to talk about the subject with Hishtadlut, and before you do, after it happens, and all this kind of material. Hashem will help us to again find the tzaddik to explain it to us.